Kelvin fashion, he didn't keep his word on that. He'd rather spend that money on his side chick. Bought her a Ferrari as a push present, but that car, according to the Daily Mail, got repossessed the day after Wendy announced the divorce. You know you can't afford those type of toys, Kev.
I don't recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day.
Sharina Hudson has officially turned her back on Kevin Hunter and Wendy Williams, and money is sitting right at the center of this entire explosion. Now that Wendy Williams is finally making her big return to television, Kevin Hunter is suddenly begging and crawling his way back into her good graces. And child, get this, the fallout between Sharina and Kevin has gotten so ugly that she is now doing everything in her power to make sure he suffers. She's going hard, claiming that if Wendy ever even thinks about taking Kevin back, she will lose total control of her finances forever. That's right, Sharina is dropping truth bombs and making sure Kevin doesn't see a single dime from Wendy's comeback. The drama is just getting started.
Wendy Williams' husband has filed a $260 million lawsuit claiming that Wendy is being held against her will in an illegal guardianship, has caused all sorts of financial and emotional damage. Problem is, he's divorced from her, and she doesn't like her much.
No, it was not a great divorce.
She didn't like him much.
And even though she's had to pay him out a whole lot of money over a lot of years, she doesn't want him a part of this, and you know this straight from the source.
Well, I know it straight from the source because before I talked to the source, meaning Wendy, it was just apparent to me. I mean, he's filing this as Kevin Hunter, her friend. I mean, when does a friend have standing to file a 200? She had.
Right now, it feels like Wendy Williams is almost out of that nightmare guardianship, and it could happen any day. Let's break down why she was trapped in this super strict setup for over 3 years in the first place. It all started with an initial diagnosis claiming she had frontotemporal dementia, a serious brain condition. But here's the bombshell. Wendy took a new test, and guess what? It showed zero signs that she ever had that condition at all. Sources claim she was simply hungover and intoxicated at the time of the first evaluation, which means the whole grounds for the guardianship are completely shaky. Her new manager is also stepping up, saying she's been making steady, gradual improvements every day. And get this, Dinar Mercury, the big boss, has always left the door wide open for Wendy to walk right back in whenever she's ready to work again. Love her or hate her, daytime TV has been a total snooze fest since she left because nobody could ever really fill those iconic shoes. Wendy's return means one thing: big money is about to be made. And now that Sherri Shepherd got the axe and her show was canceled, that primetime slot is sitting empty. There's a very high probability that Wendy could slide right into that spot and take back her throne. Now guess who's slithering back into the picture, trying to crawl his way into her life again? Yes, Kevin Hunter. He's out here running his mouth, claiming that Wendy needs someone she can truly trust. And who better than her former manager and ex-husband? Yeah, right. People would not be rolling their eyes if this wasn't the same man who played her for a fool, kept a mistress hidden for over a decade, fathered a whole child behind her back, and still had the audacity to demand thousands in alimony while she was fighting for her life under that guardianship. Kevin has been clawing at Wendy's life and her finances for a minute now. He publicly declared himself her so-called defender, promising to bust her out of the facility, claiming she's sober and desperate to return home. He even filed a massive $250 million lawsuit, arguing that the guardianship is abusive and asking to be appointed as her next friend to control everything. Thankfully, the judge saw right through his act and shut it all down, stating that Kevin was in no position to take over her guardianship. But just because his legal moves failed doesn't mean he stopped scheming. Word on the street is that Kevin is now using their son and whatever crumbs of love and loyalty Wendy still has for him to wiggle his way back into her world. A blind item spilled the tea, saying the horrible ex of the illiterate former talk show host is trying to win her back after his mistress dumped him when the money dried up. So Kevin is banking on the hope that Wendy is still too emotionally hooked on him to let him go for good.
My husband, I'm still wearing my ring. He's my best friend, he's my lover, he's all this and he's all that. I know what you've been seeing, and I knew what the streets have been talking about.
Wendy set the record straight on reports that her husband, Kevin Hunter, allegedly had a years-long affair with a massage therapist.
I am still very much in love with my husband, and anybody who's been married for 5 minutes or 500 years, you know, marriages have ebbs and flows. Marriages are not easy. Don't ask me about mine until you see this gone. And it ain't.
But if you ask Sharina Hudson, getting back with Kevin Hunter would be the absolute worst mistake Wendy could ever make in her entire career. And honestly, Sharina knows Kevin's real motives better than anyone because she was right there in the middle of it all. Here's the crazy backstory. After Charlamagne Thaw God introduced Sharina to Kevin back when he and Wendy were still a team, everything seemed golden at first. She had big dreams of becoming a chef and launching food trucks everywhere. Then, Kevin stepped in and promised her the world, assuring her that she would be fully taken care of. And for a while, he actually kept his word. Sharina lived like a straight-up queen, a kept woman through and through with flashy cars, expensive jewelry, and a house that Kevin paid for with Wendy's money. Reports even claim that when Kevin couldn't squeeze enough cash from Wendy, he would straight up steal her belongings and sell them without permission just to fund his own lifestyle and keep Sharina living large. The saddest part, Wendy never noticed any of this because she genuinely loved and trusted Kevin with her whole heart. But even if Wendy had woken up one morning and realized things weren't adding up, Kevin had already covered his tracks with legal protections. He could easily claim it was community property or say Wendy gave him permission while she was drunk or high and simply forgot. Kevin also ran a charity that he reportedly used for money laundering and showering his mistress with gifts. Get this, whenever Kevin and Wendy went on fancy holidays, Sharina always tagged along with her own private bodyguard to make sure she and Wendy never crossed paths. Back then, Sharina didn't lose sleep over what Kevin did to Wendy because he constantly promised her that he would leave his wife when the timing was right. Translation, when he had drained Wendy dry. At first, that promise made perfect sense to Sharina, which is why she stuck around, believing it was only a matter of time before she became Mrs. Kevin Hunter. But as they approached their 10-year anniversary, those doubts started creeping in hard.
She is tired of hiding the relationship, okay? She's tired of being a side bitch. She's tired of having abortions and shit like that. And she just wants Wendy out of the picture so that she can live her life out and free with her man and not have to sneak and meet Kevin in random places and shit like that, okay?
Here's where things get even darker. Reports claim Sharina had been pregnant by Kevin multiple times before she finally had their daughter. And every single time she got pregnant, Kevin allegedly forced her to leave that baby on the doctor's table because he couldn't risk news getting back to Wendy. When Sharina grew tired of waiting, she made a bold move. She sent a photo of her and Kevin on vacation to a news outlet, thinking it would finally push Wendy to file for divorce so they could start their life together as promised. Big mistake. That's when Sharina realized just how dangerously manipulative Kevin really is. He never actually planned to leave Wendy because who else would fund his lavish lifestyle? He was perfectly content lying to Sharina for years just to keep her around, and all that money he claimed to be stacking for their future together, it never existed. And on top of all that, Kevin was still feeding made-up stories to media outlets about him and Wendy getting back together, trying to pressure her into calling off the divorce. But even that wasn't what made Sharina finally give up on him completely. When the money ran dry and her relationship with Kevin became strained, she planned to return to her mother's house. While looking for something to hold on to, she reportedly made a shocking discovery. Kevin had been secretly poisoning Wendy, just enough to keep her working and dependent on him. Someone actually called the police to report what was happening, but when officers arrived, Kevin refused to leave Wendy's side, making it impossible to question her properly. There were even reports of Kevin putting his hands on Wendy in the past, but those stories got buried because she wanted to protect her husband. Now with Wendy making her comeback, there's absolutely no way she can let this deadbeat, good-for-nothing ex-husband crawl back into her life again. You might not rock with Sharina Hudson, but she's right this time because she wants revenge for Kevin playing her for decades. Kevin is so stupid. He actually thought his baby mama would stay loyal after everything? Nope. His pockets are about to hurt extremely bad on top of losing Wendy Williams and all her success. Hold your head up, Wendy. You can absolutely bounce back. More money in your pocket and way less mouths to feed. I pray Wendy recovers enough to watch Kevin and his side piece get exactly what's coming to them. Kevin had all these years to save money but didn't plan ahead. Now they can sell all the stuff they blew all that cash on. Nobody wants to hear Kevin apologize. He knew exactly what he was doing all these years. He knocked up Sharina, she had his baby, and none of it was an accident. Kevin has crossed way too many lines, way too many times. I don't feel sorry for him or Sharina one bit. Do you guys think Wendy should stay far away from Kevin too? Sound off in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, baddies.